Welcome back to Too Stupid. I'm your host, Danny, for this week. Of course, I am accompanied by my wonderful friend, Sarah. Say hello, hello.
Hello.
I wanted to see if you'd copy me. And you did. Thanks. Anyways, is this episode 13?
Sure.
I should know. I'm the one that edits the videos.
Yeah, I
and,
have no
posts it.
idea. I just show up for a good time.
Yeah. Aw. No, I think this is episode 13. I could be totally wrong, but that feels right. Sarah, how are you doing today? Despite... Well, do you want to talk about it?
Y'all. I woke up with real bad allergies today, and my right eye was completely shut, swollen, closed. I looked like I got into a fight. I looked like I had been punched.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've not been feeling too hot today, but my eye is open. Dan says it looks normal now, which is good. It still is a little heavy, still not feeling awesome, but I'm here. My eyes open. This is progress.
You are present for the recording of the episode, and if anything, that just shows your dedication, and your passion and your love for our show.
I did send a picture to Dan this morning and was like, "Hey, this is my situation right now. Don't know if filming tonight's gonna happen."
At 6 a.m., I get a photo from Sarah looking like she just got in either a car wreck or is actively having just
it was so
horrible
bad.
allergic reaction. And I said, "Girl, are you okay?" I was like, oh my god. It's one of the first things I saw this morning on my phone. Just so you know. I opened my phone and I saw Sarah snap me. I was like, oh. Because again, it was 6:30 in the morning. And yeah, I opened it. I was like, oh. Yeah, we're not filming tonight, are we?
I was going through it.
But we're here now.
We're here.
I feel like we should jump right into our TikToks.
Yeah.
Just because that is a good way to do it. Because we got a doozy of an episode for y'all today. So.
Sure.
I'm going to share yours first.
Ooh. I'm excited for mine.
Grandma's got no walker, hey! 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 Grandma doesn't need a walker anymore. Grandma doesn't need a walker anymore. Grandma's got no walker. Grandma's got no walker. The walker's probably gonna be locked up in the closet. Grandma's got no walker. Grandma's got no walker. Grandma doesn't need a walker anymore.
That's so sweet.
Grandma's got no walker. Grandma's got no walker.
That's gonna be in everyone's head now. That's so sweet, though. I love her little dance. Yeah. I love her little boogie.
It's
and hey, we love boogies. We love a little boogie.
We were boogieing just then.
That is very true.
Grandma's got no walker.
All right. What am I? Oh, okay. I was in between two TikToks, but I picked one, and now I forgot which one I picked. But this is mine. That's it.
Not Patrick.
I actually watched SpongeBob recently. After not forever, my sister was in town. Maybe I should start with that. And we watched the SpongeBob movie together. Well, as mentioned earlier, Sarah got a doozy of an episode today. Might be a little bit longer just because I'm going to talk about something for quite a while. But do you remember the conversation we were having earlier over our TikTok DMs?
About what?
Our face is saying no, everybody. About the rant or about the maybe specific topic I wanted to talk about?
Yeah. Do you want me to say it?
Yeah.
It sounds like you have some beef with T-Swizzle.
Okay.
I'm very out of it, actually, so I don't know.
So you can't say anything about it? I need you to say your piece first.
I know she just released an album. Another one? It just feels like a lady who keeps having kids and you're like, please. Stop.
Ma'am, how are you? How are you still?
That's how I feel
standing?
about her.
Yeah, so she just released Dead Poets Society. I think that's what it is. Sarah, this album has like 31 songs on it.
That's very long.
Now pretend I didn't tell you that and tell me what you think is like the normal song count for an album.
The normal song count, I would say, is like 10. Maybe like if you're doing a longer album, like 12, 13, 14, 15, I don't know, would be like max. 30? That's insane.
No, 31, Sarah.
30, that's insane. And like she's already produced so many albums with so many songs on them. How do you have more?
That is a great question.
Yeah.
Mine head immediately goes to 12. Like I feel like 12, like
yeah,
10,
it's good.
sure,
Middle.
perfect.
Yeah.
12, even better. If I
Yeah.
get any bonus after that, wow, that's cool. 14,
Yeah.
cool. 16, okay. 31.
That's a lot.
That is so many. And where you lose me is trying to back up the woman for not sounding the same when she has 31 songs on a single album.
True. You gotta have some kind of consistency at some point, which is like that's just how it's gonna be. You have like a million songs.
Yeah. I mean, you take AC/DC for example, like they're another great band, whatever. They have so many songs. To me, a lot of them sound the same.
Yeah, it doesn't.
The only reason that I'm like bringing it up is because I feel like anytime, at least okay, with my internet for you page experience right now, so many people are so sensitive about saying that Taylor Swift kind of sounds the same a lot of the time, like really sensitive. Like I've been down Instagram reel comments, which by the way, it's the Wild West out there. I'm trying to like soft launch into Instagram reels in case we lose TikTok, and I will do a complete different episode on that, but I was just down that rabbit hole, and it was definitely a sight to see, let's just say.
Yeah, I don't look at them, so again, I'm out of the loop. Apparently I need to get on these things.
Sorry, my chair keeps squeaking. If you hear that, my chair is squeaky.
I can't hear your squeaky chair.
My microphone probably can't. Anyways, I want to preface, obviously I am never for like women hating women, okay? I just
hate Taylor Swift.
No, and that's the thing is, it takes a lot for me to like hate somebody again, unless you just do something straight up illegal or horrible.
Right,
but
just horrible.
When you have somebody like, Taylor Swift who like isn't really hurting anyone besides the atmosphere, you don't really have like, I feel it's just weird. Like I can't say that I hate her. I just like I don't get it. I also can't say she's overrated though, because she's not. Like she's one of the most popular like artists out there right now.
Yeah.
Well, I was literally trying to like figure out why I don't like her today, just because like I don't like feeling like tearing down women. So I went through her album and I picked out some really weird lyrics that I found pretty entertaining. And this is a great segue into today's topic. Would you agree if I said that her lyrics sound like when you were a preteen and you called yourself a songwriter? Like I write songs in my free time. Like that's the vibe she gives me.
Yeah, I heard one line from one of her songs that was like, I had a child with this man. No, I didn't. Fooled ya. I see your faces right now. And it's like, girl, you're getting bored. You should stop writing 31 songs. That's not clever.
Yeah. More, what is it? What's the saying? More is not better.
Right.
You know, quality over quantity.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Because now, like, you have to sing that in front of people.
Like,
That's weird.
the talking back and forth, it just seems so childish.
Yeah.
Her style and who she tries to cater to is very childish. No matter how many like rebrands, like bad girl, like type
Yeah.
of themes she tries to pull off,
Yeah.
which I don't know if you saw her recent music video. I did. It's pretty interesting. Didn't really get it.
I didn't see it.
But yeah, I don't know. They just her songs very much blend together.
That is
And
true.
I think her lyricism really, really lacks. And I think
Yeah.
she stays in the same keys. And I think she, you know, uses a lot of the similar chord progressions and pacing in her songs and like BPMs, you know?
Yeah.
That's why it sounds so similar. She can use different instruments. She can
Yeah.
use different percussion. She uses different lyrics, different titles, different themes, different whatever. But when you look at it and you look at her themes, if you look at what she writes about, how she writes it, and just the overarching vibes, I guess, of her songs, for lack of a better term, they are just so similar. And you put it perfectly. When you have 31 songs in
Yeah.
a single album, like you're bound to, you know, cross that line eventually and
Yeah.
start sounding the same. And don't get me wrong, I really do enjoy like some old
Yeah.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
From like when we grew up, right?
Yeah.
Because she's been popular for forever.
Yeah, since we were kids. It's the same kind of message that she's had forever. Like she hasn't rebranded. Like it's just been Taylor Swift who writes about boys.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of music is about love.
Right.
Okay?
And that's
like,
totally fine. But writing about the same 10 things.
yeah, yeah. So, anyways, the point is, I have a couple of her lyrics from a couple different songs here, and I want to get your opinions on them, okay?
Mm-hmm.
This first one says, fresh out of the slammer, camera flashes, welcome bashes, get the matches, toss the ashes off the ledge.
What? What's she
Would you like me to
talking
repeat
about?
the question?
What's she talking about?
Well, obviously, like, these are
She's
very
committing
like,
arson?
specific lyrics from. These are very specific lyrics from like specific parts of songs. I just
Yeah.
want you to like give me a 1 out of 10, like on what you think of it.
I mean, that's like
You want me to read it again?
no.
Please don't.
No. That's like what I would write in like 5th grade. When they were like, write a poem.
That is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so reading through a lot of these lyrics, like what I realized was that yeah, it just sounds childish and it's very like simple rhyming schemes. This next one is from her song Florida. It says, and my friends smell all, or sorry. Don't worry, it gets better.
My friends
This is
smell.
from the song.
My friends
hang on.
stink. So bad.
Well, it gets better. The lyric is, and my friends all smell like weed or little babies.
That's mean. Straight up, if my friends had been about me, I wouldn't be friends with them anymore. Especially
Could you imagine
if
if
you
you were
song and we're like blasting it all over?
And what's so funny is she sings it so breathy. Like it's not even she's like very like up here, like in her head and not chest voice, more head voice. It's like I was like, it's what? So that one's one of my favorites. This last one is a whole like part of a verse back to back.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit longer. It goes, you smoked then ate a bar of chocolate. We declared Charlie Puth should be a bigger artist. I scratch your head, you fall asleep like a tattooed golden retriever.
Yeah. Sure. Who was that about?
It's so
That's very specific. Who was that about?
You smokes it. Who smokes that eats a bar of chocolate?
Really likes Charlie Puth.
Yeah. The point is, how could we wrap this up into a sweet little bow, Sarah?
Taylor Swift has no idea that you exist. Just
Yeah.
she's not like your big sister. She had a boyfriend very young. She's been famous forever. Her family is very rich. She had an inn.
Oh, you mean the asylum? The asylum?
Yeah, she did not grow up in an asylum.
Correction.
She was very privileged. Yeah,
Snaps.
the life that you live is nothing like the life that Taylor Swift has lived. So, like, you have no correlation
Yeah.
with her. She's writing very generic lyrics
Yes.
to very generic experiences that many of us have, which is a very nice thing to feel that you're not alone in life. It's nice. But still, that doesn't mean like you and Tay are besties. That's not what that means.
I think that is a great way to sum up just that topic I wanted to talk about, because it's very prevalent on my phone right now, everywhere.
Yeah.
But speaking of artists that we don't like, today, Sarah, we are going to deep dive into something very special, someone very near and dear to me.
I'm scared.
And essentially, I am going to share with you one of the greatest creators to. I start talking about God.
So, in Genesis chapter 1.
No. The point is, today I'm going to be talking about somebody very special, somebody very near and dear to me, somebody who I very much care
This
about.
is a whole presentation.
And I just pulled up a presentation for those of you who don't know. Actually, no, I will, I will include these photos in the episode on screen. But today I wanted to talk about somebody very special. Sarah, do you have any idea who this could be?
Your special interests? No. I'm so scared.
Today, we are going to be talking about my favorite artist in the whole entire world, who has been my favorite artist for
Melanie
years
Martinez.
Since...
Melanie Martinez.
There we go. Thank you. Yes, this is the Melanie Martinez episode, guys. I get to talk about my favorite my favorite artist in the whole entire world. She has been my favorite since I was 12? So going on almost a decade now. And I have a little presentation prepared. And the reason I thought that this would be a good video is because you know nothing. No offense, but like, do you know any of her songs?
Yeah, I know like snippets of some of them. Like, but I couldn't like name a lot of them.
Could you name any song by her?
Nope. Probably not.
Perfect.
Not the titles.
So the point is we have two very different amounts of knowledge about this person, right? Me may be leaning a little too far into the intense. You just being an average, maybe more regular person. Anyways, Miss Melanie Martinez, aka my pride and joy. Now, this is me. So anytime that these are just some physical representations of how I feel when I listen to Melanie Martinez. Because I've listened to her for a long time. This is in no way to be like, oh my gosh, I'm so special and unique and blah blah blah. It's more just like me wanting to share my interests and my hobbies and my favorite things with people I care about. And that way we could have some sort of insight into each other's interests, I guess. And by insight, I mean like full discography. Like we're taking a deep dive, okay? This is something that has really impacted me as a person and has shaped me into who I am. So I'm gonna share it with you.
Bum, 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 bum,
Yeah,
bum,
yeah,
bum,
yeah,
bum,
yeah,
bum.
yeah. So I started listening to Melanie Martinez in 2015. I wasn't like super obsessed at the start. It was kind of just like it was like a snowball. Okay. It
Mhm.
kind of just kept building. And with every release of every new album, the obsession has just grown stronger. Okay. She has influenced me in many ways of not only like art and style, but just also kind of her message and, just kind of what she talks about and stuff has inspired me, my personal life, whatever, all that cheesy stuff. I just kind of want to educate you on her background and kind of some of her music and what it means and the messages behind it. So, originally, as we know, she got her career started on The Voice. Sarah, did you know this?
I did not know that.
And she made it into week 5, which is pretty far, okay?
Yeah.
She went viral for her cover of Toxic by Britney Spears. She kind of does like an acoustic sort of slower version, I guess. Anyways, let's move into the actual music, okay? Because that's the fun part here.
Yeah.
So, first album called Crybaby, released in 2015. Actually, before this album was released, she released her first single called Dollhouse in 2014, later followed by Carousel. So those are her first two like big songs that she ever made.
I know.
Well, ever released.
I know those ones.
Do you?
Yeah, I know those ones.
I love that. So the whole thing that I feel like a lot of people who don't know entirely her themes, I guess, in her music, Crybaby is a character.
Yeah.
Crybaby is an alter ego, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Those music videos in this album in general um follows this character named Crybaby who is, quote, a child who experiences adult things, and a lot of the things that she writes about in this album are based off of things she experienced in real life. Besides being kidnapped, she does have a song about being kidnapped. It's it's called Tag You're It. Not that one, but all the other ones were based off of real life experiences. I have a couple from like each album that I want to highlight that are either my favorites or like lyrics that I enjoy, because I know we just bashed on Taylor Swift and her poor lyric choices. I want to highlight my favorite lyric choices from my favorite artist.
Yeah.
My personal favorites are Alphabet Boy, Sippy Cup, and Cake. Alphabet Boy has always been my favorite from that album for forever because the lyrics go in alphabetical order. For example, she begins the song with always aiming paper airplanes at me when you're around. You build me up like building blocks just so you can tear me down. You can crush my candy cane, but you never catch me cry. If you dangle that diploma and I deck, you don't be surprised. I was just like, when I realized, which by the way, I didn't realize the lyrics went in alphabetical order the first time I heard that song. I listened to it so many other times before I realized they go in alphabetical order. And I just thought that was always so cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. Anyways, flashing forward to K12, which was, K through 12 is what it's officially called, which was released in September of 2019. Now, this was accompanied by the K through 12 film. Very first movie that Melanie Martinez has made and like directed. It's essentially like a bunch of music videos that are all connected, like it's one cohesive story, and they tie into one another with like writing and like scenes in between them.
Okay.
And it follows the character Crybaby through K through 12, right? It kind of follows her during those years. Now, if you ask the Melanie Martinez community what they thought of the film, there are some interesting things to say. Meaning, I wrote the film was ... interesting. As in, the film itself, the costumes, the music videos, the aesthetic, just the cinematography, the all of it is beautiful. Absolutely
No.
beautiful. I watched the film, you know, I watched the film religiously when it came out, and I every once in a while go back and watch it just because it is such a beautiful film. When we talk about writing and acting, we don't. We don't talk about it actually. We're not going to talk about it at all because it is probably one of the corniest, cheesiest, just hard to swallow pill when you watch it. And so
Mhm.
it's just interesting. Like I said, there's good
Yeah.
parts and there's bad parts.
Yeah.
Definitely don't watch it with like, oh, this is a movie. Watch it, even though maybe that's what she intended. Watch it as in like these are just a bunch of music videos that are trying to be connected together and tell somewhat of a story. So
Yeah. She's a singer. She's not an actress. I wouldn't expect it to be anything like Tony worthy.
could you imagine? It's on YouTube. It's free. It's over an hour. But like I said, it's so pretty. It's so pretty, and I love the universe she kind of built within it. But ignore the writing and ignore the acting, and everything will be fine. Okay, moving on. Okay, my personal favorites are Show and Tell and Strawberry Shortcake. So, Strawberry Shortcake is probably one of two songs that she has where it's like a Pavlovian bell. If I hear the first couple of notes, I start crying immediately. Like tears. No matter what, no matter where I am, what sort of mood I'm in, Strawberry
Sure.
Shortcake is the number one song that I've like it's bad. So, if she plays this at the show I'm going to, I'm going to be a complete wreck. I need to also say, at the end of the K through 12 film, Crybaby, the character, supposedly walks through a portal with the goddess Lilith. Who is Lilith? Why is there a portal? There's a goddess? Yes. Yes and yes. That's my answer to all your questions.
Thank you.
But essentially, Lilith is supposed to be the goddess of empathy, and at the very
Okay.
end, it's obviously like left up to interpretation. Oh, does Crybaby go through the portal? Which we'll get to. Anyways, I need to mention that because that will come back around.
Mm-hmm.
Next album, After School. Now this is an EP. I think there's only 7 songs, 6 or 7 songs. After School came out in September of 2020, which was the continuation of K through 12. Right, you got K through 12, then you got After School. So they were released like fairly soon, at least compared to like when she releases stuff in the past. Like usually it's a couple years in between. These were fairly back to back. Hey, After School is my favorite album. Just gonna put that out there now. The looks, the aesthetic, the songs, the lyricism, just this era of her is my favorite still to this day. After School is an EP that were about Crybaby maturing, right? Because you can only carry that theme of like being a child and going through adult things for so long.
Yeah.
So these songs were meant to be more vulnerable, more deep. Again, showing that her character is maturing. This actually had her first collab song on it, which okay, technically is supposed to be on this EP, but then it got cut and released as a single later. But still, around that same era. And I have a couple songs to highlight just because this one's my favorite one. Okay, if you're gonna listen to Melanie Martinez, listen to the After School EP because it's my favorite, and I told you so. Okay, my favorites are Numbers, Glued, and Field Trip. Those are my 3 favorite songs from this EP. Numbers, I'm just going to read you some of the lyrics because, again, I want to brag about her lyricism, especially in this case because this is my favorite album ever. So in her song Numbers, she goes, "Why should I try to conform to formulated paths when clearly all my instincts led to something more magical? I need a reason why I'm looked at like a joke until I prove you wrong, like I've done time and time before." It's a very like celebrity based, like dealing with hate kind of song.
Yeah.
And just like the vocals in that song are really good. Brain and Heart is probably my favorite song from this album, like number 1. When did humans start to separate brain and heart as if they couldn't stay alive alone? Flip it around the other way. If they were apart and you had no power start or no database, only a shell remains. Give me the vitality that I need to trust love more. Blood to the water, neither can fuel us alone. Fervency in my arteries, passion blooming through my bones. I love that song so much. And I just think the lyrics are beautiful, and you should go listen to them. Next, the ones that I'm going to be singing all the time in my spare time. If you hear me singing a Melanie Martinez song, it's probably this one, Field Trip. Trying to bring the mystical into the material. Bitch, I'm an 11 life path. I'm ethereal. I'm the definition of dichotomy, duality. Katerina in the womb for 9 months till she birthed me.
Wow.
Anyways, the only thing I really wanted to talk about was like this EP. It is very short and sweet, and there aren't as many songs on there as there are on the other albums, but it is my favorite. I think the lyricism is gold, and obviously me saying them out loud aren't gonna do them justice or really make sense, okay? So go listen to them yourself. Now, for a lot of people I feel like know her now, is from this. Sarah, have you seen any of this?
No. Well,
Oh,
kind of, but I don't really know anything. Like, I've literally just seen, like, pictures, but I don't know anything.
okay. So, in March of 2023, she releases the album Portals. And you might notice she looks a little different.
Just a little.
And you might be wondering why. So, that thing I mentioned, from the end of the K through 12 film, she goes through this portal, okay? And similar to the music videos from K through 12, her music videos for this album are chronological. And so, like, the very first music video, which is Death, which is one of her songs she has on this album, she is in a flower and she's herself, and then she emerges from the flower and she comes out as what I'm pretty sure what she calls the creature.
Mm.
That's the name. So essentially it's supposed to be like an otherworldly crybaby, like an evolved different dimension crybaby, okay?
Okay.
This entire album surrounds the theme of death and rebirth. I thought this one was very interesting because she talks a lot about how she was very fascinated by hypnotherapy and how she studied past life regression, which essentially, for those of you who don't know, is when people are put into a state of hypnosis and can claim that they can see their past lives. So, kind of an interesting like theme to write an album about.
Yeah.
Each song is supposed to kind of represent a step in her journey through this like sort of rebirth into the next life, if you will. So, it's another very like cinematic album, a very story-based album, which I would argue all of her albums are, but this one in particular, definitely. I obviously find this very fascinating. I feel like a lot of people were shocked. I do miss her face, but I think it's interesting. And I mean, I love this album. I love the aesthetics. I love everything about it. It does feel like she's a different person. Like the commitment you have to like release an album and completely go like the only time you're in public you look like this. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just seems it's very bold and I respect it. And it's kooky and I love it. So
she's committed to the bit.
the songs to highlight from this one specifically, again, if you're going to go listen to some songs from these albums, listen to these songs because these are the ones I'm recommending because they're my favorite. My number one favorite song from this album is The Contortionist, mainly just because it tickles my brain and it has a lot of weird sound effects in it. So, Light Shower is another very, very good song, probably my second favorite. It's a love song, but it is also a song. I'm going to read a quote that she said when she was describing the song. She said, "There is a place in the afterlife people under hypnosis describe as a soul cleansing or a shower of light. A place where gem-colored rays of light shine through every inch of your soul, cleansing your spirit of the trauma it had experienced during your last lifetime, restoring you to your original vibration. So this song is about that, and it's also about, it implies like the theme of finding love and how it may change your overall view of just life. And it describes this person as a source of light and purification, which I just thought is really sweet, really beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a slower song. Probably one of the like only slower songs ish on this album. So the Contortionist and Light Shower are my two favorites. The only other lyrics I wanted to highlight were Battle of the Larynx, which is an entire song just based off of getting into an argument, and how a lot of people will argue with not enough reason. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
People argue just to argue. And
Yeah.
so this one is all about her being like, she says, I speak in cursive, I'm poignant, assertive, there's musical chairs in my teeth. It's just a really interesting song on like having a coherent conversation instead of like a yelling argument when you're arguing about nothing, essentially, or like when you can't bring to the table like solid reasons as to why you're arguing and to back yourself up.
Yeah.
I find it pretty interesting. Anyways,
Yeah.
that was my crash course on Melanie Martinez. There is so much more that I could have talked about, but at the same time, I'd also like Sarah to be included in this episode. And so, what do you feel like you've learned, Sarah? What are your impressions? What are your thoughts, feelings after my presentation and crash course of Miss Melanie Adele Martinez?
Well, I knew that her crybaby was like, it was like a character who was going through different kinds of like stages of development. I did know that. I didn't know she was on
Okay.
The Voice, and I didn't know that her like albums had so much structure to them, and like her songs also had so much structure to them. So that's pretty cool. I love when artists do that. So like Hosier, one of my favorites, he does that. So I love that.
So what you're saying is we're gonna get another episode with you doing this to me about Hosier.
I don't know that I am that talented and capable of creating an entire
What?
slideshow
be
presentation
so cool,
about
though.
Hosier.
Oh my
I don't got that
gosh,
time,
but
girl.
Okay, whatever. Maybe. We'll see. Maybe what if I
We'll
make
see.
one and I present it to you and it's about Hosier and I know nothing and I'm
would
like, Sarah,
love
I
that.
learned all these things for you.
I would love that.
Danny teaches Sarah about her favorite artist, about Sarah's favorite artist.
Danny teaches Sarah about Sarah's favorite artist. That
That would be
sounds
good.
great.
That would be fun. But yeah, I know we've talked in the past about like stories and like conceptual albums that
like
are
thematic albums.
Yes, thematic albums and just how much more enjoyable they are. I mean, not to bash, there are plenty of people out there and musicians I listen to who don't do this and are still wonderful.
Yeah.
But there's that extra aspect of like love and care that you just don't get a lot of the time with other musicians when they make an entire story, universe, theme around a single album or a single character.
Yeah. Agreed.
Well, that was my whole spiel and talk about Melanie Martinez. Take a shot every time I say that I either enjoy her music or just say her name in general. Make sure it's the weekend. You will
Don't
be
die.
hungover.
Don't die.
But anyways, Sarah, what did you eat today?
Yeah. I obviously stayed home from school because I was puffed up like a puffer fish. And so I got to eat some better food today. I had a ham and cheese sandwich, warmed up, homemade, some sourdough bread. It's delicious.
Ooh.
With some spicy veggie straws, because
what is it? Screaming hot.
Screaming hot veggie straws. And then we had had like taco stuff tonight for dinner. So like I made nachos. My dad
Nice.
made a taco. My mom made a taco bowl. It was great. That's what I ate today.
Everybody's getting
What did you eat
tacos.
today?
I had I always have to think about it. I feel like I always start everything like that, where I'm like, oh, no, I had a cream cheese bagel with green onions, as I usually do. Like
Yeah,
it's
yummy.
a problem. I have it a lot. I feel like I've said that a lot. Apples and peanut butter,
Yep.
and a lemon poppy seed muffin. That was my
Yeah.
breakfast. I also had some coffee. Usually I
Mm-hmm.
don't do that. I was just feeling a little crazy today, okay? I was really excited to talk tonight about my presentation, I guess.
Yeah.
But no, and then dinner I made little bacon, egg, and cheese bagels because me and my
Yum.
partner have decided they're my specialty. Whether
Mm-hmm.
that's a compliment or an insult, I'm still trying to decide.
Hey,
But
we all have our one
they're
thing.
great. Hey, they're great, and they're my favorite thing. I love me a bagel sandwich.
Yeah,
So
me too.
I made some homemade ones and had that for dinner right before we sat down, actually. So I think I'm tapped out for the rest of the night.
Yeah, it's bedtime.
But any other closing remarks that you have before we end today's
I
episode?
have zero closing remarks.
Okay,
The
it was
trees
more just
suck.
like
I should teach you all about botanical sexism.
okay, for context. You need to provide some context.
No, I think
Maybe
we
we
should
shouldn't.
just
Maybe we should just end the.
Well, come
All
here.
right.
Come here. Come right here.
As Sarah talks to the dog she's babysitting, I'm gonna close out this episode. Google botanical sexism.
Yeah.
Stream Melanie Martinez. And have yourselves a great weekend. We will see you in 2 weeks
Eat a
with
bagel
Sarah
sandwich.
hosting. Eat a bagel sandwich, maybe some tacos.
Yeah.
And we will see you in 2 weeks with Sarah hosting the next episode. As always,
Doo-doo-doo-doo-da.
have a great weekend. Like and subscribe. And peace out.
Peace out, Girl Scouts.